Sup. Alright, I'm back again. About to do a spark plug change. This is a G35, my wife's car. I hardly do any video. I'm hardly in it. But just the video I did the exhaust mod on. And just gonna show you how to change the spark plugs in this bad boy. So we're gonna start off by removing the engine cover. Let's do that right now. All it is. What you said, boy? Engine cover, but you close. Yeah, engine cover, man. Okay. Kind of weird, huh? Yeah. Why they put all this crap on here? Take off these 4 screws. One here, one there, one there, and one there. You don't have to worry about the oil cap. You can leave that on. So let's just pull this thing off. Da-da! It magically disappeared. All right, so we're getting closer.
My dad did it. It's not magic, guys.
Who did it?
You.
Oh. Oh, okay. Now we have to take off this intake tubing, all of it. You can kind of split it in the middle, but it'll be hard because now you gotta press and pull back to try to get this, to let go of this. And what I'm gonna do is just take off the whole thing. You can take it off; it's all one piece. So take this off. It's just 2 snaps right here. That's all it was on mine. This car is old. I don't know if it's missing parts, but take that off. And then this box right here, once again, how do you take this box off? Oh, I see it's a screw right here, and then the rest of it, if you can leave it alone. There's a sensor that go right there. I already unplugged it. Just squeeze it, pull back. All of this, you can leave it alone. This screw right here, that screw right there, leave it alone. Take off that 10mm bolt from right here, unloosen that vacuum hose from back there, and unloosen this screw, and we just go pull all this off as one piece. All right, so this is how it look with all the intake tubing missing. So I was right. You would just take that 10mm bolt from that right hand side, but it's not gonna come up easy. If you look under here, got these 2 like push snaps. That's what I'm gonna call them. I don't know if that's the correct term, but they fit in there pretty tight. It will make it seem like it's a screw or something, but there's no screw. It's just these little push-in tabs, and then this little tube right here. And I'm gonna show you where these go. Those 2 tabs fit in here, and depending on how long they've been in there, they fit in there pretty tight. So you gotta apply some muscle. This right here goes into the bottom where the other hole was. So between these 3 being pressed on, you got to do some wiggling and pulling, and it'll eventually come out. So all that is removed, and with all that removed, now you can see the coils better. So this is where your spark plugs is. This coil right here, take off that 10mm, squeeze and pull this connector. You can lift out this coil. As we can see, it is going to hit this line, this wire harness. So we're going to have to figure out how to get that wire harness out the way. I already seen how. If you look over here, it's a 10mm bolt. Unloosen that, the whole bracket will come up. It'll get that wire out the way. There's another one here. Take that out, and then you lift that up, and we can move that wire harness out the way. Might be another one in the back, but might not have to take off all 3, but I'll let you know, because sometimes, you know, you move 2 out of the way and you can just kind of pull on it with your hand just to get enough room so you can work. But this side is now visible. You go on this side, it's still cluttered. So still gonna have to remove some wire harnesses. Look like you're gonna have to take this millimeter bolt, get this harness out the way. You might have to take this vacuum hose off. I'm not sure yet, but it's going across the top. I see another bracket right here. Oops. Another bracket right here that look like it could be in the way. That's sitting right on top of the second coil from this side. So that 10mm right there, and the back, as you can see, is down in there, and that's the 10mm that loosens it. So for this car, you're gonna have to do a lot of rearranging to get stuff out. But it looked like this side is gonna be the hardest. I like to do the hard side first, and then at the end you can do the easy side. So we gonna start on this catastrophe over here. I can't even. I know. What am I talking about? I can't even say catastrophe. I feel
Comment down below if you have Fortnite, guys, on my channel and my dad's channel.
Oh man, this is a Fortnite fanatic right here. Check that guy out. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so what I ended up doing, the vacuum line here that goes there, remove that out the way. I took this 10mm bracket off right here. Also over here, it gave me a good amount of harness play. Took the 10mm off from here. Then there's one right here, and then the other side, that's from where the engine cover sits, so that's already removed. But move this plate, you get a little more plate. It's still tight, but this the thing, guys. Unless you feel like rearranging and removing this whole engine harness, go for it. But for me, I like to take shortcuts. I don't like removing stuff that I don't necessarily have to move. So what I did was I took off the stuff that was necessary, which was what I showed you. But just use a little muscle and move stuff out of the way. You know, find the path to make one, and basically I made one. If you want to get down in there without rearranging this whole engine harness, just kind of pull, you know, not too hard till you start ripping stuff, because you do have grounds and stuff like that. Just look around, see how far you can kind of muscle it out the way, and you can get stuff out without actually removing everything that's in its way. That's what I did, because there's a lot of stuff over here that need to be removed if you just want a clear, easy path. But to me, that's too much work, so I just muscled it out the way. And this right here, I was gonna remove it, but I tore it, and luckily I did, because when I tore it, I found out, come on phone, underneath it's not even all rubber. This, let me see, I'm trying to do it and hold the camera. If you look underneath, it's a hard plastic that goes over this. This looks like a fuel pressure regulator, but it feels rubber. Well, I don't know, I still feel it kind of hard, but I was wondering, it doesn't even have a clamp on it, and it fit real tight. But when I tore it, I seen it's a hard plastic underneath. So me being who I am, I don't know how to find another hose like this, and then it goes way under the bottom. I'm not trying to deal with it. I did tear it, but luckily underneath it's a hard plastic, so it's not gonna leak or anything like that. But my advice, leave that thing alone. This is one of Nissan specials right here. I ain't never seen a rubber hose that has a plastic insert. So even if I did got it loose, when it came back to put it back on, I don't know if it would fit tight or not. I probably would have to put a hose clamp, and by it being hard plastic, I don't know if the hose clamp would squeeze it tight enough to get it to fit tight. So the choice is yours. You want to remove it. I didn't have to. Luckily, these coils, if you look, they flex a little bit. You don't want to flex them too much because they will break. But what I was able to do, I pulled it up as far as I can get it and over to the right. So I pulled it up and moved it to the right and just slid it out the slide, slid it out the side right here. So I left that in there. To me, that was easier than dealing with this hose that I don't know nothing about. So just for a heads up on that hose, we got we got all the coils out, and I just need that spark plug out the back, which is no problem. Just get you a a long extension, a 5/8 socket. It'll be worth the while to have that rubber insert in there, so when you pull out, the spark plug come with it. If not, just have a long magnet or you can stick the coil back in there and grab the spark plug to pull it out. But this car hasn't had an oil change, not an oil change, spark plug change, I think in a while. Come on, phone, I'm trying to focus. There you go. You see that tip on there? It's rounded. I ain't never seen a, what to call it, the electrode round like that. Usually it's more of a rectangle shape. And look at that damn gap. That's the biggest gap I ever seen in my damn life, man. And there's oil right here. That's more problem. That means the seals that's underneath the valve cover is bad and it's letting oil get in on the spark plug. That's not good. But that's another job that I have to show y'all later, because I am not finna do it right now. The car didn't have a misfire, so it should be fine. But in order to change the valve cover seals, you have to remove the intake plenum and other things out of the way to get that valve cover that's buried underneath all this bullcrap. I'm not knocking Nissan or Infiniti, but that's why I stick to Honda 4-cylinders. You can get a lot of power out of them, and they're so easy to work on compared to this monstrosity right here. So I just wanted to show you this spark plug. This is one of them, but the other one looks just like it. That electrode, or we just gonna call it the tip, is bad. See how it's rounded? I don't know if this is, like I say, there's a lot of technology going around. I don't know if this is a Nissan specific spark plug where they naturally have a rounded tip like that, but I doubt it. That don't look good. And also, like I say, look at that gap. That is a huge gap. But got them plugs out. Throw some new ones in there and throw this side back together. I still have another side to do, but the other side is easier. So once I finish all this hard crap over here, we be smooth sailing on the other side. So let's get this started. Another thing I want to show you, some of these, I don't know if I'll be able to show you with one hand, but let me find one. What the hell, man? Okay, here we go right here. This is a connector for the coil. Sometimes it's hard to push this tip in and slide it off. So, you know, it's best to push it in hard as you can and wiggle as you pull. Sometimes that doesn't work. So what I do, see if I can. Of course I do this with two hands. My other hand is holding the phone, so I can't, you know, I don't have three hands. You know, if I had a tail, it would come in handy. But anyway, with your right hand or whatever hand you want to use to squeeze this, make sure it's pressed far enough to where it releases. But if you can't get it to back out, I usually stick a flat tip right in the front, right here. And while that's being pressed, all you do is spin the flat tip like that, and it will back this thing up, and then you can pull it out. So that's one of my old techniques I use to get stuck connectors off when it's just a squeeze and pull. If I can get it to back up from pulling it, I just put a flat tip in between this gap right here and just twist it, and you will see that this connector will back up, and then you can just pull it out with the ease. So that's just a little tip I want to show y'all. Judging by the coil, this one has that bad valve cover seal. You see how it's all coated with oil? These are clean looking. So this one is leaking oil, and plus when I pulled that spark plug out, it had oil on top of it, and that was in this cylinder. But like I say, that's a different fix on a different day. Let's get to it. Would you look at that? This is a perfect example where I was talking about that valve cover seal being bad. It's letting all kind of oil in on that third cylinder from the front of the car. When I first stuck the socket in there, you can hear it make that liquid quick sound. So this, not cylinder, but this port where the coil go in was probably full of oil. And this is the outcome of that. Now that oil doesn't touch. I mean, it might be, come on phone, you can do it. There you go. It might be wet now because when I pulled it out, of course the oil was gonna run down. But come on phone. Look, this one, the electrode, or the tip that, oh my goodness, there you go. That white tip, it's almost not even there, man. How long these damn plugs been in this car? Oh my goodness. You buy a, well, I know better, but when you buy a used car, it's always good to change the oil and the spark plugs right out the jump. And they tell you, oh yeah, we just did it. Just to get you to buy the car, but as you can see, that tip is almost damn near not even there. So these plugs is bad. I'm surprised this car even ran like this. But see all this oil right here? Now that oil, like I say, it doesn't get on the tip. This tip is threaded into the cylinder head. So it's clean. It's just the back side. This part right here, as you can see, just caked with oil. And that could cause a misfire. Because the coil sits on this. If it seals tight enough, it won't let the oil get up. But eventually, the more oil that get in there, it could cause a misfire, cause arcing through the coil, and the spark won't get all the way through the, look, it's dripping, folks. That's how much oil is in there. It's dripping off. Oh my goodness. But anyway, I have to fix that. So I got a job ahead of me, and I've never done it before, but we go learn together. I just wanted to show y'all how bad this one is. Alright, so I got all 3 plugs out on this passenger side. These are new ones, of course, at the top. And at the bottom are the old ones. I got these Nissan plugs. They're supposed to be the actual plugs for this car. The G35, the 350Z. And now these are Nissan plugs, but let me say this, they're made by NGK, so obviously Nissan uses NGK in their cars, and got the Japanese writing and all that kind of stuff on there. But what I want to say is, I didn't just go get dealer plugs. Actually, these are actual Nissan plugs, but I got them off eBay. I bought them off eBay. There was a good price, so I got them. Now, what I want to say is, I am not the type of guy that say only buy dealer parts and, you know, I only use dealer parts and all that kind of stuff. I'm not that type of guy. I'm like this. Change your spark plugs. Get something that's for your car. It doesn't necessarily have to be from the dealership, but make sure it's the right application for your car, whether it's NGK, Bosch, whatever, split fire, whatever you want to use. It's all preference, you know. So just do it. That's how I am. Even when I go to the gym, some guys say do it this way, do it that way. I don't care how you do it. The best part is getting in there and actually doing it. Some guys will tell you do it this way, do it that way, but they don't do it at all. So how you gonna tell me how to do it and you don't even get in there and do it, you know? So I don't care what plugs you use. Just make sure it's a plug that fits your engine. Whether it's NGK, Bosch, split fire, Champions, I don't care what's your preference, spark plugs. Just change them when it's time to be changed. That's the most important thing. Change them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a dealer item, but I just wanted to show you a comparison. This is a new plug. I don't know if you remember earlier how I was talking about that. Come on, phone, you can do it. How I was talking about that tip. You see the tip on this one? That metal. Come on, this is a freaking $700 phone. It can't even focus right. You see that metal tip? Oh my goodness, making my life hard right now. That metal tip right there. You see how that one's more rectangle? And check out the gap. You see how that gap is? This is a proper gap. I already gapped the spark plug. And that's a proper, I'm going to just say tip. I think it's called the electrode, but I'm not sure. Let me grab one of the old ones real quick. This one doesn't have a bunch of oil on it, so you can actually see the difference. You see the difference? 1 second. I'm trying to do this with one hand. Alright, you see the difference? How the one on the right is rounded. It's not supposed to be round like that. The one on the left is a proper tip. It's more rectangle. The one on the right is rounded. And another thing, check out the gap on the one on the right. It's huge. Believe it or not, a spark plug gap can actually steal power from the engine. So that gap over there is huge, and more than likely it's still in power from the engine. And now the reason, I'm not saying somebody gapped it that big, but because the actual tip has been filed down so small, it make it look like a big gap. But when that tip was normal, it probably was the proper gap for the spark plug. But look at that tip, it's almost not even there anymore. So I don't want to say these plugs was the original ones from when they built the engine, but these plugs been in there for a while. That's horrible. I just wanted to do a quick comparison to show y'all how it's supposed to look compared to how it was. So let's get these plugs in there. Alright, so we got everything back together. I put the spark plugs in, put the coils back in, and just want to give another tip for this hose right here. On mine, this hose is real hard. When it's real hard, that is not good. It'll crack and break real easy. It's a rubber hose. Rubber should flex and, you know, bend a little bit. This was hard, but yet I had to take it off. So if yours is hard and you have to remove it, just remove, squeeze, you know, this pinch right here, and then there's another pinch right there. So what I did was I took the pinch off from right here and lifted it up, and then this side I just with my hand twist and pulled until it slid off this part right here, because you do not want to break this unless you want to buy another hose to go in here. I like this one because it's already pre-bent and it goes right on. If you get another hose, it's not gonna be pre-bent unless you find one that's already pre-bent. And some hoses, when you go to put it on this end, it might have a kink because it's a bend right here. So if yours is hard and maybe brittle, to keep from breaking it, take this side off first. It'll be like a candy cane, and then just twist and pull to get it off this side, and that should prevent you from breaking it. But this side is all done. I put it back together and it's all complete. Now we just go wrap around where this come from and do this side. As you can see, this side is a whole lot easier. You can pretty much see all the coil. This little connector right here is hiding the one in the back, but that ain't no problem. These two, knock them out, figure out how to get that one. Once again, it's just a harness that's in the way. Might have to take off 1 or 2 bolts. This right here is just plastic and tape. It's gonna crack, and this brittle's been on here almost 20 years, so can't get around that. But this job has to be done, so I'll deal with that later. So let's get this side going. I'm gonna figure out how to get this side apart, and I'll let you guys know. Alright, I see what I have to take off to get this harness out of the way. If you look in the back here, there was a 10mm right in the back. Let me pan out so you can see. It's right in the back. It's kind of hidden because it's dirty, and then the line was over it like that. But if you pull it down, it's a 10mm right there. And further in the back, I can't even see this. Alright, if you look right, come on, you can kind of see it. But if you look further in the back, I need some light, but where my finger is, there's a 10mm bolt right up under the throttle body. This is the throttle body, and alright, I'm gonna bend it a little bit, but where my index is, there's a 10mm bolt right there, and that bolt holds this bracket, which is holding this wire harness. So like I said, if you use a little muscle, you can kind of bend stuff out of the way to give you some clearance without taking off a whole lot of stuff. So I don't have the proper lighting, but right where my index finger is, there's a 10mm bolt. Just to loosen that one right there, and this one right here. Go with my ratchet, and this one right there. And this harness should be able to flex enough to get these 3 coils out. So let's give it a shot. Yep, and I was correct. After I removed those 2 10mm bolts, the harness has more play, and I can get these coils out. I see it's a vacuum line right here too. Now I should be able to bend that out of the way to get that coil out. So this vacuum line, you shouldn't have to move it. But you can see where that 10 millimeter bolt was now. The bolt was dirty, so it kind of blended in. But if one there, and you should be good. There's another one here if you really want to get it out of the way. That allow this part right here to get out the way. But like I say, you can kind of bend it out the way already. Oops, my hand slipped. Yeah, so you can kind of bend it, but it's up to you. If you don't want to do all this bending like I'm doing, just take off that other 10 millimeter bolt right there, and it'll pretty much fall out of the way, give you the clearance. So the choice is yours. Now let's get these coils out. I just want to show you something, not to get confused. I thought it was a little, if I wasn't paying attention and when I went to throw this thing back together, I probably would have got confused. But the first coil on this side, starting from the left hand side, goes here. This connector went to that coil. This is the second coil. As you can see, I loosened it, but I didn't take it out. This connector goes to the second coil. But if you look, where's that third one? That third one is here, but yet the connector is way over here. So it'll be easy to get this connector and that connector mixed up once you disconnect them. Because this connector is actually closer to that third connector than this connector. So if they was unplugged, you would think, just by looking at the distance from each coil, you would think this one would have went here, and then since this one was so far back, it would have went to the third one. But it's not like that. So just make sure you pay attention to where they go. This one goes here instead of this connector here going here. You would think it'd be one here, this connector going here, and then this one going to the third one. But it's not like that. That second connector that you would think go here actually goes to the third one, and then this one goes to the second one. So they kind of cross. You know, they doing one of these numbers. So I'm gonna have to mark it just to make sure I don't get confused, because I will get confused. So just for a heads up, just mark them. If you got a marker, just put 1, and then you can put 3 on this one and 2 on this one, or you can just do 1, 2, and obviously this is number 3, you know. So just for a heads up, folks. So all I did was I put a 1 on this one, and then the one that was in the back that I took off, I put a 2 on that, 2 on this one. But also I see, like I say, the car is old. This had a number on it. It just fell off. It looked like it had a 2 on it. Yeah, you can see right here, part of it right there. That little sticker had a 2 on it that went here. So it's probably just telling me the firing order. 2 right here. This one looks like, yeah, it looked like a 6 right here. And whatever, let's see. This one doesn't have nothing on there, so obviously it didn't fell off over the years, or no, it's nothing under this plastic. But yeah, obviously it didn't fell off over the years. So it's telling me the firing order. It's saying this is cylinder number 2. The one under there is 6, and that one, I don't know, might be 4, I guess. I can't say because I don't know the firing order for Nissan G35. But obviously from the factory, or maybe somebody put that one on there, they had labels on them telling you where it go. But like I say, if yours didn't fell off already and you're not sure, just pay attention to where you get these connectors from, where you disconnect them, and just mark them. I put a 1, but I'm not saying that's the firing order, like this is cylinder number 1. I'm just counting it from the left to the right, 1, 2, 3. That's why I put this one 1. This one was 2. Then obviously the one underneath right here is gonna be 3. So just another little tip. Alright, so I got all the spark plugs out on the driver's side. And this guy right
It's
here.
Ivan again.
He always video bombing. Look at this dude right here, man. This is my other son. See, look, he like cars too. See that muscle car? Y'all see that? Yeah. What's that, an Oldsmobile GTX?
And the hood can open
That's
up.
a muscle car right there.
Put the doors and trunk can open.
Ooh, nice. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna get back to the video.
Yeah.
Okay. As you can see, the spark plug on the left was full of oil once again. So both sides, the valve cover seals is bad. The one on the left had the most oil, and the one on the far right had a little bit, but the tips are just like the passenger side. They're almost non-existing, and they rounded, and you can see big gaps. So these plugs is bad. From the visuals, look like they've been in there forever. So just for a heads up, when you buy a used car, always run through the maintenance, get it over with, so you know when it's been done and know how to keep up with it. This car, like I said, is my wife's. It's hardly been, we hardly drive it. She hardly drives it. She has her tie hole over there, as you can see. That's what she drives most of the time. This car.
And she's gonna leave us right now like it's nobody's business.
Just go leave you like nobody's business, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, have you ever had that airplane game where you can cheat or something? That game looks cool.
So this car, we just driving around town every now and then on a weekend, and we don't do the maintenance. I haven't did the maintenance since I got it. Like I said, we hardly drive it. But I knew to do it because you just never know when the last person did it, and I finally got around to doing it. You know, my other videos, I spent a lot of time working on that raggedy button Tegra, trying to get it right. So I got a little extra time today between work, family, and that raggedy Integra. I got around to doing it. So this is why you should do the maintenance when you buy a used car. You run into this kind of stuff. Spark plugs look like they've been in there since the beginning of the time. But anyway, we're gonna put the new ones in and put this thing back together, and I'll let you know how it runs. Just wanted to show y'all, give y'all a hit. Alright, so it's all complete now. It's all complete. I got the new spark plugs in. Got the coils back in. Everything from here is just a reversal of what I did to take everything off. All you have to do is put the intake tubing on with the air filter and put the engine cover back on, and that's it. So this is the process of changing the spark plugs on the G35. This is a 03, so I'm assuming from about 2000 to 2005, I think they're the same. 2006, if I'm not mistaken, they kind of switch up. So we all done now.
Picture?
And if you have any questions, just hit me up with the comments below.
Yep.
And I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can.
Ouch.
Say hi, Ellie. Hey.
I need to look at that bad.
Say what's up. See, you slapped yourself. Now you're regretting it.
Yep.
Yep, big time.
We have a lot of games on our Xbox.
Alright, so like, subscribe.
Yep.
And I'll see you guys while we learn together on my next video.
Just in case you can help.